do the timer down or nothing.
The timer.
I know.
Oh my
People
God,
are like, what the hell's going on?
This is awesome. They're going to love it. They're going to love it.
They're not going to love it. They're going to be like, what the hell?
Just because you like it doesn't mean they like it.
They do. All right. You ready?
I don't think so.
Is that ready?
We'd have to do a poll on that.
We can do a poll. I don't care. All ready or what?
Yeah.
I'm Scott.
I'm Don.
And we're talking real estate. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a great show, an unbelievably pertinent show. Look at it. He's got the timer going. That is going to be something that people are going to be able to take a bite of and help them in their lives.
Talking about topical, we try to get some topical things.
Yep.
This one is definitely topical, and it's from this past weekend. So we got somebody that's gonna really bring it and educate us on.
And listen, Don, I'm gonna say this before we even start talking about names and things like that. This gentleman, I met with him last night, and I talked to him for an hour, and I was like, "Tell me more." It was awesome. I love when somebody really knows what the heck they're talking about. Here's Kathy Cordy, very nice. Zach will go looking at mom and dad's house, very cool.
And that's the thing about when you do come across somebody that in this business you get to know people and they know what they're talking about. You know that they know. You can tell the way.
Absolutely. So I want to make sure we give him enough time. So I definitely want to make sure we give him enough time to kind of give us the ins and outs of that field. All right. But here's somebody else who knows what the hell they're talking about. The legend, Mr. Mishta, Mike McLaughlin. There he is, showing me the time. Tell me what time it is.
Well, I'm not going to be on for a couple minutes.
No?
28:40, I think. So you guys just going to have to wait because you guys don't know how to use a timer. Somebody has to know how to use a timer. Look, you can see the baseball game in the reflection.
It's rough, man. It's rough. Kathy Cordy says hello, Michael, and all kinds of people. Background. Look at that. I feel like I'm on a beach. Yeah, I feel like I'm on a beach here. Michael, so what's going on in the mortgage world, sir?
Like you called me, Mr. Mishta. I feel like we were looking at some of the numbers this morning, and it looks like I'm already like in the 35 to 40 Mishta loans this year already. So,
wow, good job.
Hey, so I saw something across my email that was curious to me. Somebody asked, a client of ours, yours and mine, asked if there's a 15-year Mishta. There is not, huh?
No, and actually I get that question more and more frequently, especially now that Mishta has a conventional program, which would make the 15-year program more conducive to people who, if you're conventional, it kind of means you're financially more set. You're kind of in a better position than people using FHA, and that kind of starts to lean toward people looking for a 15-year loan product. But nope, Mishta does not have one, and keeping with the affordability, they, same reason why they have income and asset limits. They're keeping it as affordable as possible. I mean, they get you the reduced mortgage insurance on the conventional products. So, take what you can get, right? I actually had that question today. Probably get that question at least once a month.
Yeah. Okay. Like one of your big fans, Chris Bergeron, piped in and says, "Hi, Mike McLaughlin. You're like a celebrity. I'm telling you. Next time I see I have a party at the house, and just like Don, you can walk around and that's Mike."
Paparazzi.
Let me ask you this question, and it relates to what we're talking about, but it's not Mishta. Don and I were looking at something, another realtor from out of state. Is there a federal program right now? Is there some kind of a federal down payment?
The only thing that's coming from the federal government is a tax credit, which happens after you purchase the property, at least for the state of Michigan. It's after you purchase the property, there will be tax incentives so that you get a straight up tax deduction, the tax credit, which takes a little bit of tax planning because you have to have a tax liability in order to get a tax credit. So people who purchase a home will want to make sure that they're getting maybe reduce the number of dependents that they declare on their, what do they do that on? 4506? Is that when you do no. Well, anyway, the federal tax document that you change with your employer. So if you buy a new house and you might be eligible for that tax credit, talk to your tax guy, talk to Scott, Tom, talk to me. As this stuff moves forward, that tax credit that's going to be available will come with your tax return. Nothing that's going to be specifically used to incentivize the purchase itself. It's after the purchase.
Right. Is this the $15,000?
No, that was a Mishta program that was federal money that lasted until the 10 million, or I think it was 10 million or something like that, until that ran out. That was a great program. No, this is a new federal money that's incentivizing people to purchase homes, and it has nothing to do with the actual purchase process itself. It's after you purchase it that when you file your taxes, that's when you're going to be able to take advantage of that program.
So is that in play right now?
I believe so. I can try to Google it to see what.
Yeah, that's okay.
No, we trust. I thought I saw something that said that there was a
15,000
a down payment that says it's federal one. I thought I saw that somewhere.
It was 15,000.
Well,
yeah,
it's possible that because different states, like when we had that $15,000 from Mishta, where you could buy the house and get $15,000 that was forgiven after 5 years at the rate of $3,000 per year. When we had that program, that was federal money that we were given, and the state of Michigan utilized it in their own time. So it's very possible that another state could have their money that came from the economic downturn, and now they're rolling it out, but perhaps we rolled out our program before they did. It could be the same federal money. It could.
Gotcha. So Steve Kreitz giving you a quick shout out as always.
Hey,
Sam Abdullah asked a question.
We have a question for
this is one you don't want to touch, I don't think, but we're going to ask anyway. Go ahead.
But he kind of discusses it every week, though. Yeah. Do you foresee the rates? When will the rates adjust in today's market?
Hey, they're pretty solid right now, and when they're still down in the 3.25 conventional 3.25 3.5. I mean, who's gonna scoff at that, right? And FHA is still in the 3.25 range, and perhaps even lower in some cases. But they talked about inflation and it being a short-term function that's happening right now. That the inflation we're feeling is going to be short-term, and then they came out and expanded on it and said that by short-term they mean 6 to 9 months. So, but then consumer confidence came out yesterday. It was through the roof. Stock market's still chugging right along. I would say that we should anticipate rates staying low through this year and next year, just like they've been saying the whole time. I do think we need to get people back to work, though. The workforce is underpopulated right now with good reason. I think it's time for people to start getting out there. How many restaurants have you been to? I don't know, for me, where they just can't keep the restaurant open for all their hours or all their days because they don't have enough employees.
Right. Yeah, not just restaurants, even just businesses, just companies that want to hire people, and there's nobody out there who wants to take the jobs right now. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a strange time in America, my friend. It's definitely
okay, Don. Don said 15,000. Okay, so here's what we know so far about the First-Time Homebuyer Act of 2021. The First-Time Homebuyer Act will create a refundable tax credit, that's on your taxes, up to 10% of the purchase price, up to 15,000.
Okay.
So there's your 15,000.
So do you think everybody buying in 2021 first-time home buyers, any first-time homebuyers in 2021 get that credit?
Well, it hasn't. Well, this is from May, so that's a little bit dated. Let's see. Let me look in the news section here. But no, we're very happy with rates and our underwriting. For us specifically, our underwriting times have shortened up, which makes it a lot easier to get files through when you can get underwritten in a day or two. It's so much better than having to wait, and then Mishta's catching up too. So yeah, it's nice to see our underwriting catch up after the holidays.
Yeah. All right, Michael. Well, listen, we're going to jump in with our next guest, sir. You are the on the money guy as always.
The on the money minute. That's what you should call it, Scott.
On the money minute. That's nice. I like it. Melissa probably came up with that though.
On the money minute. All right, Mike. Thank you very much.
Brother, we'll see you next week, my friend.
All right, guys. Thanks.
See you, bud.
Bye.
All right, so Don, the guy we've been waiting for.
I'm excited.
This is going to be freaking awesome. Yeah. It's in a dire straight time. Like last weekend, all hell broke loose.
Right. And if this would have been 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, people might not have been as
curious
and it's top of mind for many people right now, and maybe in the near future. So this is really, really timely. So
guys, we're going to bring on Don Clark from Forever Dry Waterproofing. I met with Don yesterday and talked to him for about an hour. He is as passionate as you can get a business person to be, and just dropped dimes on me left and right. It was awesome. So let's bring him in. Don, how the heck are you, sir?
Hey, Don.
How you doing, guys? Welcome to my home this week.
The car, absolutely. Have you slept at all? A little bit, okay, okay. I bet not as much as you normally do. Not as much as you normally do. So, Don, let's start with, again, your company's called Forever Dry Waterproofing, yeah?
Correct. Forever Dry Waterproofing.
Okay. And then tell us about your background a little bit.
I've been in this business for
Ah, crap. Lost them. Guys, we'll get them back. We promise we'll get them back. Definitely, I mean, important guy. Definitely an important guy. I mean, so
what happened this past weekend, the flooded basements, I was driving through a neighborhood just coming back to the office, and I saw a bunch of. All
right, let's try it again. Let's see. Don, how about now?
I see you guys.
There you go. Right, now we see it good. I'm like, this is the most important part of the whole show right here.
All right, you're coming in and out, but you're good now.
Yeah, so tell us about your background one more time. Ah, dang it, looks like it's going red again. Tell us about your background. Do the best you can.
I've been doing this for about 30 years. The system that I'm installing now is partially my design with my supplier, Safe Basements. We've worked together and to improve it. We've taken it to the next level over and above what a lot of guys are doing out there.
Okay, okay. So kind of walk us through what types of waterproofing are out there.
Well, you still got your old school. The people dig around the house, they tar and seal it from out there. Bad thing about that, it's old school. The technology has not come that far. So, along with that, you have to tear up around your house. So if you've got patios, landscaping, you've got a lot of additional cost, and you're not going to get the warranty and the protection that you do from the inside.
Now, will that ground shift around too if you tar from the outside?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're disturbing the soil again. So, yes, it's going to shift and settle, and it's not like the good Lord put it there the first time. So that's what causes water issue, is that bowl that's around the basement, the soil that wasn't virgin. That's what has a lot of air pockets in it, and voids allows the water to set and filter down through by the basement walls.
Okay, so we got old school. Then what else we got?
Well, then you go inside, where the technology has gone way far and above, and then I feel we've taken it even farther with our system. By putting it inside, you can control the environment in there. Okay. Outside, you've got the environment, the cold, the hot, everything, rain, snow. Plus, you got all that soil bearing down on that drainage pipe. Well, eventually it's going to crush or fill full of roots or whatever, and it's going to fail.
Right. So, and that's something somebody even said to me a day or two ago. Is, why would you bring the water inside? But like you said, it controls the environment. It's the environment you can control.
Right. And by waterproofing outside, you're only taking care of that water that's out there. When winds like what we had this past Noah's Ark weekend, you got water building up underneath the floor and around the house. So that system out there is only going to take away what's out there. And to that level, it's still not going to control the pressure that's building up under the floor. So by putting in a system like what Forever Dry does, we actually drop the water table 12 inches below your floor. So you never will experience hydrostatic pressure again.
How interesting.
And that was a term that when you and I talked, you kept repeating to me. Can you explain hydrostatic pressure to people?
Hydrostatic pressure is just the force of water up against the surface, whether it's coming through the sidewall or up under the concrete floor, the slab itself. And the more water building up, the harder and higher the pressure is up against that floor. Well, at that point, it's going to find every imperfection that your home has.
So Don, how do you get the water table 12 inches below the floor of the basement? Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, you did.
How do you?
That's a great question. A product, what we call multi-flow. It's similar to a drain tile system, but it's not. What it is, it's a 5-stack plastic tubing that's all wrapped in a fabric, stands upright. So I go in 4-inch trench inside the footing and set that upright. Now what that does, I just put a hole in the bottom of the bowl under your house. That water can't raise any higher than that relief valve right there. So in my system, that's the workhorse.
Okay, and then where's the water going to? How do you get it out of do you get it out of the house? Where's it going? How do you get it away from the?
Every city and township is different in the state. A lot of them will allow us to take it to a sump pump and then pumped out and away from the house to what we call a bubble pot. Some cities require us to take it all the way to the storm system. Some, like Livonia, we have to put it to a dry well system in certain areas. Some cities still allow us to dump it into the storm sewer sanitary lines, but that's getting far and few between because they don't want to put an overabundance of water into the system, which is getting sent to the treatment centers.
Right. Okay.
So let's talk about waterproof first. How do you flag or how do you figure out somebody's not looking out for you or a bad waterproofing company?
Ask questions. I mean, that's the simplest way. How do you plan on doing this? How do you plan on getting this out of my house? What are your guarantees? What does your system do and don't do? I heard so-and-so does this. Why do you do it different? So there's multiple things out there that people can shop and look for. You got to be careful on what you use. Everyone's going to say they have the best system, but we can find faults with a lot of them. We don't break footings, which some do to get their systems in. We don't use a 4-inch drain tile, which can cause soil erosion. We try to minimize any bad adverse effect to your home by what we do.
Okay. So, like, what are signs that buyers should look for when they're walking into a basement? Like, what are some things for you to go, oh, you look for this, look for that?
My first thing when I walk into a house because we go out and do inspections for people that are buying homes. We charge $250 to go in there and do a once over on the foundation, check things. If it's a crawl space, we'll get in there, check it out, check out the structure. And then they can take that $250. If we do work for them later at a later date, we'll use that $250 as part of their deposit. But what I do when I go into a basement, the first thing, if I see a very freshly painted wall, a flag goes up. Because 99% of the time, that's the homeowner is trying to cover up a condition. And it won't bleed through for anywhere from a couple months to a year. So you'll start seeing yellowing, you'll start seeing effervescence building up on the walls, you'll start seeing paint bubble, flakiness at the bottom of the walls, darkening around cracks after the floor's been painted. So paint makes the basements look great. And I know you guys like seeing fresh basements, but to us as waterproofers, it's a flag.
So Don, let me ask you this question. Would it be smart of us, because I try to tell buyers, and I try to look for this myself, is to look for spaces that weren't repainted, like looking inside little closets or looking under the steps, things like that.
Yes, I always look I try to find either behind a wall or behind a meter or somewhere where they couldn't get the paintbrush. And those are the areas I'll start checking. You can just walk around and feel the wall, and if you feel bubbles, a lot of times you'll feel bubbles down at the bottom of the wall. I mean, that's signs. So you got to be buyer beware.
Yeah.
Right. Does that typically in black foundations versus cement poured basements?
We see problems in both.
Okay.
Yes, we see more in block walls because block walls are a little more porous and they've got the cores in the center, which allow water to penetrate, and then they fills up the walls.
Right.
So I've gone into basements where basement walls are 6 feet full of water, and when we weep the bottom of the wall, water will shoot across the basement.
Wow.
Really?
Yes.
So when you go into, I've seen this in a number of homes when I go showing a house. Some of the basement will be waterproof. This is from the inside, maybe 1 or 2 walls or part of it. Do you typically do all 4 walls or all the walls all the way around, or
it depends on the condition. I mean, I have no problem doing partial systems when it calls for it. But if I see telltale signs elsewhere, I'm going to recommend a full perimeter. I'm not going to walk into a house and tell you, nope, sorry, you need a full perimeter. I'm walking out. Okay. I mean, I've done as little as 10, 15 feet. So It all is determined by what's going on in that particular home.
Okay.
Gotcha. So let me ask a couple more questions then. So as far as costs, like give me the least expensive scenarios, maybe if you can, and then start walking into a little more expensive ones.
Again, it all depends on what's going on with that home. But I mean, if I walk into a basement with a rod hole that's leaking, you're looking at as simple as a $200 fix, and that'll cover up to like 10 different rod holes. If I walk in and I find a crack in a poured wall, we don't inject it because I don't believe injections. They don't work. So I do a different procedure for a crack repair. But something like that, you're looking at around $900 with a lifetime guarantee.
So so tell us about it, because injections are common. I see them a lot. Why do they not work?
I have repaired injections for a long time. The reason why injections don't work, and I mean, the products are getting better and better, but you go in, they put their ports in the wall, and they'll squirt in an epoxy a lot of times. Epoxy is a hard substance. That crack is a moving part of your house. What's going to happen to a hard substance in a moving part? It's going to let loose.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, those injections don't go all the way through the walls, all the way through that crack to the outside. So it's trapping water.
I always wondered about that. I always wondered if it got to how did they get it to through the whole block wall or the whole wall, cement wall? Huh. That's interesting.
So let's talk about you and I touched about this a little bit yesterday as well. Is what about like sewer backup stuff? Does waterproofing help with that or no?
No. The one he's backed up 3 times.
We're losing you, bud. We're losing you. Yeah, we're losing you. I'm getting like every other word now. There we go. Now I got you again. Yeah, now we got you.
All right, so what I was saying, we can't help with sewer backups or floor drain backups. That's more of a plumber, and the homeowner would need to talk to a plumber about getting a backflow preventer put on the system, heading out to the city system.
Hey, Don, do you know regarding a backflow preventer if it's installed inside the house or on the outside of the house?
Usually, I believe they're on the outside, but I'm not sure. I'm not a plumber, so I always...
Right, okay.
So that's more of a plumber thing then. Okay. So two different things. Okay. So another interesting thing, and folks, we see they broke up. That's why we asked them the question again. So I appreciate you letting us know. But we definitely got that question asked twice. You and I talked about something yesterday because you do some other foundation work too, and you said that when you see stabilizers in a basement, you should be happy about. I'm not happy, but at least it should be a sign of they took care of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel comfortable by buying a house that's been braced. Now you know the homeowners did have a problem, but they took care of it. And by bracing a wall, you're going to stabilize that wall. And depending on whose braces it is, you could, over time, move that wall back into a correct position. So
is that any kind of bracing or
buying a house?
Is that any kind of bracing?
Well, again, Forever Dry takes it a little bit farther. A lot of companies will use like a 3 1/8 or a 4 1/8 inch I-beam for a wall brace. I've actually seen those bend and contour to the deflection of the wall. I use a 3x5 by 1/4 inch box beam, which will not deflect. That gets bolted right down to the footing, and then with a bracket up in the ceiling, and we can pull it back. Or in very severe cases, I've actually used a wall brace with an anchor and shot an anchor out 15 feet out into the yard to use the earth as a pulling point and pull that wall brace back.
So is that something that you got to maintain?
Yes and no. It all depends on the severity of the wall. I mean, you may have to do periodic adjustments, and you can only do it in dry weather, because if you try to adjust it in wet weather, the earth itself is the resistance. So if you're doing it in wet weather, there's no resistance behind it. You could actually push that wall right back out the other way. So there is maintenance. Usually any contractor we offer a service plan where we can come out, check the tightness and check everything out, whether the condition of the wall, it could be every 4 months, 6 months, or every year.
Okay. So I'm sure you got a good story from the road. Give us a good story from the road.
I think we all have good stories from the road.
Yeah.
I think the best one, I did a job up in Frankenmuth, and I had to go in there and put some crawl stanchions in there, and I crawled under there to get everything laid out, and I noticed right in the center of this house, it was an older farmhouse type deal, there was a stump. They had cut it off just perfect to use as support to the house, which I've seen the times. But in this case, they took, and it was artwork, they actually bowled out the top of the stump. And there sat a Brunswick bowling ball holding up the beams of the house.
Oh my goodness.
So a stump and a bowling ball were holding this house up.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That's awesome. Now you know what to do with your old bowling ball.
Never knew. Who knew?
Yeah. So Don, do this for us. Let folks know how they can get a hold of you by your cell number and that, if you would.
Most definitely. Of course, it's dry waterproofing. You can find us at www.foreverdry.com. Forever Dry Waterproofing and Structural. Our phone number is 66-4-NO-WATER, which is 866-466-9283.
Very cool. So Don, let me ask you this most pertinent of questions. You've been using that system about 8 or 10 years, you said?
Yes.
Has it ever failed yet?
Not one. To this date, we have a perfect service record.
Fantastic. Wow. That's what we love to hear, my friend. We're going to have you in the studio sometime soon, because I don't think this flooding thing is going away. But Don and I, we wanted to take the whole show based on talking to you, because that's what people need right now. They need to talk about this kind of stuff. So Don, go enjoy your daughter's game. Yeah, go enjoy your daughter's game, and we'll talk to you later, sir.
Thanks,
right,
Don.
you guys have a good night.
Thanks for being on the show.
See you, bud.
Good night.
All right, bye.
You're welcome. Thank you.
What a great guy, man.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And I'm telling you, I sat and talked to him for like an hour.
Yeah, you.
And he just like you couldn't throw him a thing that baffled him. He had it all going on.
He knows his stuff.
He knows, and he's not even that. He's passionate about it. Like you can tell he cares, and he knows what the hell he's talking about. He's not kind of shooting around all over the place. So, guys, that is all the time we have today. But like I said, Don and I seriously.
I want to say something though. So 2 weeks ago, last week we didn't get to it, and I want to get to it. Not this week, we'll do it next week. But the Walkowitzes, when I ran into them, Hollywood and Kathy and Zach and Ben, and they had some suggestions on some things that we should bring up that they just experienced in moving into a house.
Yeah.
We're going to bring that up next week, and we'll talk about that and just bring that out since we're
absolutely,
short on time,
guys.
okay?
And always, guys, if you ever have suggestions or things you want to hear about, just let us know. And just let us know in the comments of the show. Let us know. Shoot us a text or email. We want this thing to be pertinent to you. And like I said, that's why Don and we sat down Friday and go, Monday, we got to get a waterproofing person on. We got to get somebody, because that's what's going on. I mean, people that do that are a jet ski person, right?
That's right. Or Cody.
All right, guys. So I'm Scott.
I'm Don.
And we're talking real estate. See ya.